Hey, True Believers England team here with the real Dr. VENKMAN, except no substitutes. And we're going to be talking about issue 3. I had it here for a second here. Issue 3 and issue 4 of, oh, you got the trades and I got the B covers.
Yep.
Here, let's pop this up and we'll do it right. Of the Detective Comics, Future State Detective Comics. This is issue number 3. This is issue number 4. These are the B covers. And here you go. Those are the A covers. All righty. So we thought, okay, let's talk about these things. I've got the wrong background, but who cares? All right. And we're going to be doing this for a few more books. I just had to. We were talking about it anyway. Let's bring this up. All right. So issue number 3. This is he's been shacking up with this a father and a daughter team. The father seems crazy because he keeps hearing these voices and he keeps saying, yo, I'm hearing the aliens. I'm hearing the aliens. And Bruce Wayne, who is living there, of course, everybody thinks Bruce Wayne's dead. He's trying to solve his own murder. He figures out exactly what's going on. And it's the fact that they put out all these little drones that are flying around everywhere, spying on people. And that is the entire story. Seriously, it's a very basic story. At one point, he does suit up and he runs into Luke Fox or whatever his name is, Batman, the new Batman.
I think it's not Tim, it's the other one. There's 2 sons.
Yeah, it's not the Signal. It's the other guy.
Yeah.
Right. So he does this whole thing where he's like, where'd you get the suit? You know, for a little bit, it seems like we're going to get the confrontation that, you know, the 2 Batmans clashing, which I'm sorry, would not be a competition.
No.
If they at all gave Luke Fox or whoever it is a fighting chance, I would call bullshit.
I think it is Luke Fox. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Batman, one thing I'm really not a fan of is you put on the suit, you become Batman. No, Bruce Wayne is Batman. Bruce Wayne, this isn't, I'm sorry, it's not like he took a drug or something. It's not Captain America. You take the super soldier serum, you have Captain America's powers.
Yep.
It ain't like that. Bruce Wayne trained his freaking ass off to become who he is. So I don't get that anybody who puts on the outfit is immediately as good as Bruce Wayne in the outfit. But since Bruce Wayne is trying to solve his own murder, he lets him go. He's like, well, that was uncomfortable, which I kind of liked. You know, is the whole bit about how, okay, I accept it. I've got to stay underground. I got my own little bat gear on, but
yeah. What's really funny about your piggybacking after we said about how Bruce Wayne's trained by like probably 20 different people that taught him different things, you know, instructors. we got the next Batman on there. He's like saying to Bruce, like, you know, whatever you're doing, you're gonna get yourself hurt or killed. You know, you should, you know, go home. I'm thinking, if you knew who you're talking to, you'd be crapping your pants in that little copycat suit.
Yeah, it's. They just I never liked it. I never like whenever somebody takes over the role of something. They're on. Oh, you're better than that last guy or anything like. No. He even says stay home tonight. I was like, and it's like, dude, like I pretty much invented that line. Yeah, I didn't like the pretty much part. I would have just straight up, I invented that. You know, because I thought pretty much was more Mariko Tomaki than Bruce Wayne. Yeah. But the good thing is, at this point in issue number 3, Mariko has actually been doing well with this book. So I've like I said before when I reviewed issue number 1 and issue number 2, kind of have to eat a little crow as far as the whole. I went off on Mariko Tomaki. I did. I went off. I was like, oh, I can't believe they gave this to her. They're wanting to fail. How did they even consider Mariko Tomaki? In all honesty, she's been doing all right.
To be fair though, we were coming off, or they said, I'm Not Starfire book, which is basically a slap to anybody who's a Starfire fan.
But I haven't read it. I only saw it.
I know, but I'm just saying that's usually I'm not saying that's your why you didn't like her. I'm just saying that's generally anybody.
The She-Hulk is why I mainly didn't like her,
but
because her She-Hulk was horrible. But let's face it, that can happen. I liked her story about being super with Supergirl. So, and sometimes it just takes the right writer on the right character. Dan Slott, you're a Spider-Man fan. You hate Dan Slott's run.
Well,
I didn't like it myself. I read some of it and didn't care for it.
He was coming off of, first for Dan Slott, he's coming off a big change in Spider-Man where a lot of people were unhappy. He's starting a whole new thing where Peter Parker is no longer married, he's now single, and he has no clue that everything happens. A clean slate. It's like having a rebirth, after the Flashpoint. So a lot of people were not happy to begin with, and then it just felt like he just kept going from it's like, hey, Carly Cooper, it's like, I have a new girlfriend. And then you just see almost immediately, I think it was like a year or two later, he's took over his body. It's like, what are you guys doing? So as much as people hate on Dan Slott, I can't fault him because it was kind of hard to come off. Straczynski was a great writer,
but my point is that Dan Slott, while I didn't like his Spider-Man, he also did. I'm finding the right background. That is not it. He also did the Fantastic Four, which I'm enjoying.
Yeah, currently
I like his run on Fantastic Four, and he also did She-Hulk, which I really enjoyed. So it is sometimes a case of you put the right writer on the right book, and everything works out. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Maybe with this Mariko Tomaki, maybe she's okay with Batman. We don't know. We don't know because this is just 3 issues. The other shoe may drop if, and I think she is taking over the actual title when everything gets back to quote unquote normal.
I believe next week, right? March.
Yep. Next week it all begins.
But I gotta say though, you gotta remember, Future State just feels like they're letting the writers write whatever they want to write. And this is what we get. They're like, this is Elseworlds. Do what you want to do. So who's to say that this is what she's doing on this might be what she's going to do, bring it to the table next week, in a normal comic. Yeah,
it's a little bit strange, this whole Future State thing, which, by the way, I abandoned some of. We're going to be doing a top 10, like a top 5, bottom 5 of Future State, and my bottom 5, I will not read the rest. I read issue 1. I did my due diligence. I put in my reviews. I'm not going to spend $9 on a book that doesn't thrill me.
Definitely.
As a matter of fact, when DC comes back, I'm going to be checking prices more than I have before. If these expensive books do not thrill me, I'm out.
Well, you look at these; these are like $5.99, and that's normal price. That's not even the variant.
That's the $5.99. That's horrible, man. This future, the next Batman, right here. This is an $8.99 book. Well,
the reason I went for this one is because you get to get both Batmans on there, but I love the design of the costume. That's the next Batman. It's basically Batman's old costume with the face mask.
Which, in all honesty, Bruce Wayne should have anyway. He goes up against villains like Scarecrow. He should always have a face. Oh, so it might be Scarecrow.
But I understand why they do it, because then you can see him gritting his teeth. You don't see the emotion. That's why they don't do it. Iron Man has to be cocky in the suit. You have to show him in the suit, the helmet. Otherwise, you don't see him.
I have to be. Oh, by the way, I like the fact that while he's discovering, holy crap, they've got eyes everywhere. They've been seeing everywhere into people's homes all over the place. And it seems like even Batman, is this real? Is this in his mind? Because the more and more as the story goes, it looks like even Bruce Wayne's going a little bit nuts until you get to the last page. And you have him looking like this right here.
And that's Dan Mora, I believe, doing the interior art for this.
Yeah, the art is good. I do like the Batman. I got to admit, I put down the book for a little bit, and I forgot there was a grifter story. So I didn't read it. You actually mentioned it, and I was like, oh, shoot, yeah, there was I didn't read the grifter story.
I usually just read the main titles. I mean, like the Red Hood, the art's bad on the Red Hood books. The back, I'm not sure who's doing the art for those, but you can tell it's no, actually no, I think it says it here. It's Belair is doing it.
Well, I read the first part and I did like the second part, so I will check out the Grifter.
Yeah.
But I just can't speak highly of it, right? I can't, speak intelligently of it, I should say, because I haven't read it yet.
Is it? I gotta ask though. Is it Tomaki and Anna Williamson co-writing these issues? Because it shows on the corner here. It shows. Let's zoom in. Tomaki Williamson. I wonder if it's Joshua Williamson writing with it too. I have to look it up. But if she's co-writing, if someone else is co-writing with her, that's even a slap to her. It's like, we don't trust you to write by yourself. I was wondering that too.
Maybe they thought somebody might need to hold her hand while she's
right,
while she's taking on such a big character. I don't know. So that takes us to issue number 4. By the way, I love this cover. This is a sweet, sweet cover, man.
Yeah, I love that cover. I always got it too, but I was like, this is more like Final Fight.
Okay.
So I kind of like.
Yeah, of the two of them, I dig mine.
Well, yeah, I love that suit. It so much reminds of the New 52 suit he had when he built it himself. And I like the fact in that book he didn't have access to all the stuff, so he had to make it from all the parts, from all the robots he kept destroying, so whatever he left.
Yeah, in the context of the story, I kind of like it, him being stripped down.
Yeah, it's not like he went to Home Depot.
For a long time, we got Super Batman. He's got some tech for whatever ails him. Now, I don't like the idea of Lucius Fox taking his money. To me, that speaks ill of Lucius Fox as well as Batman himself. It just does. Lucius Fox knows whose money it is, and now he has it. That makes, in my opinion, Lucius Fox a bad person. I think it was horrible writing.
Well, remember, Lucius Fox was also responsible for making all his gadgets, but now he's like, not only is like his money, he's like, well, I'm not no longer making gadgets for you anymore. And give me my money back. I'll pay someone else.
Yeah, it's really just, it makes Lucius Fox a crappy character. It makes him a bad person. But I'm reading this now. This is a reason for him to not have his money. Everybody thinks he's dead. He's trying to keep it that way so he could solve his own murder, find out why the magistrate did it, and actually stop him. So he's underground, so he doesn't have access the way he would normally have access, and I get that.
He's living with some guy named Joe who thinks he sees alien stuff, or people are listening to him, but the government doesn't trust him. He's got a tinfoil hat. And then his daughter Hannah, who also we learn in issue 4, she works at the magistrate building, and she knows about everything that's going on. So I was like, okay, now this is, to me, that was a bit of convenience. Yes,
this is where I think I've got to stop praising Tomaki. I think I got to start saying you're being a little bit lazy here. In all honesty, having the girl know, because she goes, I know more than you. I'm like, okay, so. On one hand, that gets rid of the "I don't believe you" Batman story that would obviously come up. But on the other, it just, like you said, it's plot convenience. Well, since I know more than you, I'm going to go over here in this room, and I'm going to stop them from being able to see you as you go over here. And won't that be cool? So I thought, all righty, yeah. But then why were you calling your father crazy? Was it so you did, because they never actually explained, were you calling your father crazy so you didn't let them know that they could see you at all times? What if there was something said in the book, I had to let my father, blah, 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 because I didn't want them to know, boom. That would be more of an explanation.
Unless he actually was crazy and she's afraid that he'd say something and people would find out, get back to her. But yeah, it's the fact that she's worked with the nanobot, these little drone stuff she knew about, and she's been using them to secretly record the Peacekeeper.
Yeah, I find out all their confessions. Haha, here you go.
Who we find out is just a nobody. He reminds me of was it Cash, the guard that worked at Arkham Asylum, the one that doesn't it remind you of him?
It would be a white version of it, but yes. Yeah, I know. Why keep his, if you're going to reveal that it's nobody, why keep his face covered?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like, what was it, Promulgate #2 or whatever they call Peacekeeper #2 had a freaking mask on. None of the other ones did. So the whole thing, it was like, it's like the Who is Snoke thing. Oh, by the way, I guess we should say spoilers about 10 minutes ago. So yeah, it comes off like that, where it's like, I don't get it. Why the mask? Why do all of that if it's going to be a reveal of nobody? I was actually expecting it to be the Red Hood.
Yeah, it would have been much better if it would have been a Red Hood, or actually turned out to be Deathstroke.
Or Deathstroke, yeah, somebody who would give well,
maybe not Deathstroke, but Red Hood. I don't know.
In the first or the second issue, I think it was, where it was they had the Red Hood Ravager crappy story.
Yeah.
At the beginning of it, they showed that Red Hood and Ravager were the most eager to go out and capture the masks. So it made me think that when the magistrate is going, okay, we need a #1, that it would be either Rose or the Red Hood, since we already know that it's a male. Then boom. Now, I think it would have been cool if we had both Ravager and the Rose. And that's why they're so good at it, because you've got the fighting skills of not Ravager, but Red Hood. But you got the fighting skills of Red Hood, and Rose, who can fight herself pretty decent, also has her precog powers. So I thought it would be really cool for those to be #1 and #2, but they kind of threw that out the window.
They do in the Red Hood story, though. They do bring back like him, where if you read issue 3 or issue 2, the last time they said they had him being targeted by the magistrate. There was a arrest warrant out for his mask. It's like, what's going on? They turned on him, and he basically ends up being. He tries calling them, which is dumb. I'm like, why are you calling them? Hey, what's going on with you? Why am I being targeted? And like, oh crap, you're probably tracing this call. Boom! His bike gets exploded, and he's shot. And he's going to hide and stuff, and like, so what he ends up putting to him? The original Red Hood mask, which
I know, which looks ridiculous. It looks like you remember in the '90s the way those Cat in a Hat hats were popular for a short while.
I'll give you better.
That it was ridiculous.
There was those chapsticks things you have. They're like circle, they look like bullets, and you put it on the cap.
Yeah, it looks like he's wearing a dog's penis. it's freaking horrible. You know what? Screw it. Here. Let me pop this thing open. I'm not kidding. It really does. It looks like he's got a dog's penis on his head.
But I do like the fact that we get White Rabbit back. I haven't seen her in a while.
Let's see. Where's the dog's penis?
And for those who were, I guess, spoiler for those who were reading this comic.
That's it. It looks like he's wearing a dog penis on his head.
We find out because in the first issue they had Rose, and they found him, and Ravager. They found out the Mad Hatter there. He was dead. He's been dead for a while. Skeleton. So we find out in this issue that White Rabbit actually killed him. Took advantage of the situation. Took his tech, and we find out that she's, I guess, working for the magistrate. It's kind of cool because Rose shows up, and he actually did show that he's like. And she's basically telling her, White Rabbit tells her, it's like, hey, if you want, you can. We can just go separately. All I want is the helmet he's wearing, and then you can kill him, and you could take the reward money for his mask, and we'll go our separate ways. That's all I want to do. But Rose is like, well, no, how about I just kill both of you? And it's just, and I love that they do show that the precognition. She's like, really think I couldn't find him? It was going to see that. I saw ahead what was going to happen. It's like, darn you, plot twist.
So okay, do you think that the Detective Comics? Do you think it ended as well as it began? What do you think?
It started off with a bang and ended with a bang.
Okay, I would have liked more closure on issue #4. In my opinion, it wasn't a satisfying ending. So it's a great beginning. It's a decent book, but the way it ends, I went from, yeah, you got to read this, to, you know what, I don't think you're going to be hurt by it. So it went from like a 4 to a high 3, which would be, I guess that would be what, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. So I would give it a 6 out of 10. because I don't think it's as good as it could have been. It's not it doesn't. I think the poor ending kind of brought it to an average book rather than.
Should we talk about anything or just leave that for people to read?
Well, yeah, just leave any spoilers for that. But what would you give it on a 1 through 10?
Well, because the way it ended, I still have questions. I would have to give it probably 6 or a 5, strong 5. So it's
an average book. You didn't actually think the series, by the way, is
Well, the series overall was great, but the ending was just kind of like, really?
Okay, so this particular issue, you're giving an average grade to
because there's so many questions. Like you said, we brought up who is
issue number 3. If we're doing individual issues, issue number 3 for me would have been an 8. That's a good solid book.
Yeah,
that's a high good. But number 5 would actually be a 4, which is a high poor to me, just because the way it ended, it was just so flat that it actually would bring down the average. So there you go.
But I was hoping, like, maybe if they did continue this storyline, I wouldn't mind having a future like this and finishing the whole thing once we find out who the magistrate is and get this all over and continue in this setting, this future setting. Because obviously this is supposed to be like when he's 40 years old, in his 40s versus normal. It's supposed to
be future state,
yeah, future state. I kind of like this world, mainly because this is close. I'm going to get to a Batman Beyond because that's gone.
Yeah,
until they bring it back next year or whatever they decide, if they even decide to bring it back. You know,
I like it because it's different and it's actually the Batman stories are separate from the rest of the DC universe. It seems like. And I kind of like those. I miss the self-contained stories. I don't need them teaming up every 5 freaking seconds.
I don't need like 6 different people coming in and just jumping in. I want just Batman by himself.
I've been wanting that since the beginning of Rebirth. It seems like Batman's been a team for the last 10 years. Let's just have one.
if you're gonna have Batman sitting in a chair and everybody else doing a thing, he might as well be Batman Beyond.
Yeah, there you go. Alrighty. So there you go, gang. That's our take on the Detective Comics, new Future State Detective Comics number 3 and 4. What did you think? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell if you haven't done it already. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Ko-Fi. I know a lot of you guys have a problem with Patreon, so go on over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. Links in the description below. And I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that. To everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.